In the heart of Bryanston, one of Johannesburg's most affluent suburbs, tragedy unfolded that would shock the whole nation. A newlywed couple, full of promise and building their lives together, were brutally murdered in their own home, leaving behind a grieving family and a 3-year-old without his parents. This is the story of Wamukelwe Zuma-Memela and Wendy Campbell. Let's get into it. Wamukelwe Zuma-Memela was the 29-year-old son of author, renowned journalist, and political commentator Sandile Memela. At the time, in fact, Sandile Memela was working as the Chief Director of Marketing and Public Relations in the Department of Arts and Culture. Despite his father's popularity and success, Wamu, as he was affectionately known, was carving out his own legacy, far from his father's world of words and public service. Wamu was a highly regarded chef, known for his culinary talent, hard work, and vision. He had built his career working in luxury establishments, such as at the Radisson Blu Hotel in Sandton, where he was a chef de partie, and he later co-founded his own catering and events company, Drizzle and Dazzle, where he served as executive chef. Colleagues remembered him as an ambitious young man who had already achieved significant recognition in the culinary world, with awards and invitations to represent South Africa in competitions abroad, including in China and in the United Kingdom. To many, he was a role model, even at such a young age. He was proof of what determination could achieve.
So where did your passion for food come from?
Well, my grandfather had a fish and chip shop. During the school holidays, we'd all visit my grandmother, my grandfather, and we'd have to work at the shop. But I didn't know back then that it was a passion until DSTV came to South Africa, and I used to get home at 2, and then the Teletubbies would play, and then after that, it'd be Ready Steady Cook. Every time Ready Steady Cook finished playing, I'd go into the kitchen and start cooking.
Being a chef stressful though?
We're all adrenaline junkies, so we love the rush of the kitchen, and we get frustrated at the little things that will stop smooth service flowing. But then after that, it's relaxed, and we always laugh about how somebody was stressing and how they were freaking out and spinning. But yeah, that's all it is really. It's not really what I'd call stress.
What was it like when you won the regional Gauteng competition?
Sure. I actually didn't realize how much I wanted until I finished cooking. This was my first competition that I entered, and I got there. I didn't know what to expect, this whole mystery baskets thing. The whole system was new to me. So I went in there with the thing of, I'm just going to enjoy myself. And when they called my name, I just said contestant number 10. I didn't even realize I was contestant number 10. They said, it's you. And I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. And then I was piled up with all these prizes, and I couldn't believe it. I really won this thing.
Where is Wamu going to be in the next 15, 20, 30 years?
I've been from everything to property specialist, real estate, and all these things, and now I'm in chefing. But I'm really enjoying this, and it seems to be really, working out for me. So yeah, I'll probably be in entertainment.
Yeah, become a celebrity chef.
Yes, I think I'm going to become a
Have
celebrity
me on your
chef.
show, please.
And work hard, just as hard as you do.
Wendy Campbell, who was 28 years old, was just as equally driven. She had a background in marketing and sales, having studied at the University of Johannesburg, and she was employed at Nedbank in Johannesburg. Wendy complemented Wamukelwe's creative passion with her sharp business acumen. Together, they were a power couple with big dreams, with him as an executive chef of their business and her leading marketing and sales. The two of them had gotten married the previous year in November of 2014 and moved into their home in Bryanston only a few months earlier. Friends and family described them as hardworking, humble, and deeply committed to one another. But at the center of their world was their 3-year-old son, who now faced a future without his parents. On the night of Thursday, the 15th of January 2015, the Zuma-Memela household became the scene of horror. Intruders forced their way into their Bryanston home, and inside, Wamu and Wendy were overpowered, tied up, and their lives were taken using electrical wires, which were found tied around their necks. The attackers ransacked the home, taking household items and making off with the couple's Audi A3. The following morning, the couple's bodies were discovered in their bedroom by a cousin of Wamu who lived in a cottage on the property. For the family, the discovery was devastating. For the Bryanston community, it was chilling, a reminder that even in affluent suburbs, crime could strike without warning. The aftermath of the murders was devastating. Wamu and Wendy's 3-year-old son was now left without parents. Their families, who had just months prior celebrated the couple's marriage, were now confronted with unspeakable loss. Zuma-Memela described his son as a visionary, a young man who was dedicated as both a father and husband in leading his household. He was very proud of his son. He also described his daughter-in-law as dignified and dedicated.
I got a call from my sister who stays here in North Cliff. And she wanted to know where I was, and I told her that I'm actually driving to Mandela Square for a meeting. And she said, I think maybe it will be very important for you to come to Wamu's place. I learned that there is a tragedy that has occurred there. I don't have the details. And I said, tell me more. She said, no, I was called by my son, Lebu, my sister's son, who is Wamu's cousin. And he woke up to a scene that he felt was too ghastly to contemplate or witness. So I turned and drove straight here. Already my instincts told me that it was the worst that could have happened. As a parent, as a citizen, above all as a father and someone who wished to see my own children become part of the whole process of nation building here. It's very sad. In fact, the pain and the tragedy is indescribable. I don't know what to say.
Their memorial service was held at His People Church in Parktown, which was attended by friends, family, colleagues, and high-profile celebrities who mourned not only the couple's death, but the promise of what their future could have been. Gayton Mackenzie, who was friends with Wamu, spoke at the memorial service, telling attendees of how Wamu had such big aspirations, including planning to host a food festival at FNB Stadium, an endeavor that he had approached Gayton seeking funding for. If you're intrigued by my storytelling, please like this video. That is always very encouraging. Also, if you are not yet a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Police quickly launched an investigation into the double murder, and within days, the stolen Audi A3 was discovered in Ekurhuleni, raising hopes of a breakthrough. Wamu's father even speculated that he believed that this was a targeted attack, calling it potentially an inside job rather than a random act of violence. Gauteng's MEC for Community Safety at the time visited the family to offer her condolences and promised that the killers would be found, that the police were pursuing every lead. Several individuals were interviewed, but no arrests were made. Investigators remained uncertain about the number of intruders who were there, whether the crime had been random or targeted. And even though robbery seemed to be the main motive for the attack, there were also lingering suspicions that perhaps the couple's success may have made them a target. And despite the initial urgency, weeks turned into months, months turned into years, with no major breakthroughs. Forensic evidence, community tips, and recovery of the vehicle were not enough to bring the killers to justice. No suspects have ever been charged. And 10 years later, the case remains unsolved and a chilling reminder of the violent crime crisis in South Africa. What are your thoughts on this case? What do you think happened on that night in Bryanston? Was this a random act of violence, a random robbery, or could the couple have been targeted? But even more importantly, this raises questions about the ease with which criminals can get away with murder, literally, in South Africa. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, which is sure to generate such interesting dialogue about crime in South Africa. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.